My name is Szanto, and this is my story 125. 124 was spiteful. He hit me so hard I thought my cheekbone had broken. He said it was my fault. I hadn't smiled enough. "You're here to please me, girl," he said. I stared at the wall, at the pink and green mildewed concrete, as I said sorry. Sorry. A flimsy word, falling apart in my mouth. On my first day here, I was told to apologise if I offended anyone. If I did not, they might not come back. None of them has ever said sorry to me. As 124 was leaving, I smiled and said goodbye, while blinking back tears of pain. "Why give them numbers, Sabrina?" Naomi waves my notebook at me. "Why write about them? Why do you not want to forget all about them, as I do?" "Why do the police give criminals numbers, Naomi?" Answer a question you don't want to answer with a question. I snatch my book. Now I'll need a new hiding place, and there are few in this tiny shared room. "I don't know." As she frowns, her thick eyebrows pull together. "Why do they? And what do we have to do with the police?" "Do you really just forget about these men? If you can't forget, you won't survive," she says. Naomi has been here for 5 years. She is practiced at survival. I consider her a friend, but don't trust her. I don't trust anyone. I don't like her knowing about my book. I like to have secrets, to close myself around. So much of me is open, for sale. I need things that aren't. It's my survival. I asked Naomi why she was hunting through my things, and she said, "Why would you mind if you have nothing to hide?" Answer a question with a question. I imagine she was looking for money. That doesn't make her a bad person. Every girl here would like the money to escape. Naomi doesn't push it about the numbers. The truth is that I don't know why I do it. Sometimes allotting numbers and recording facts makes me feel as though I'm filing a police report, getting these men locked up, even though paying for sex isn't illegal here. Sometimes I feel as though I'm writing a story. I have always wanted to be a writer. Not that anyone would want to buy my words, just my body. When Naomi has gone to sit in the corridor or walk around outside, I hide my book in my clothes. Then I rub pale concealer into the bruise 124 gave me yesterday, the shape of a damaged flower. They don't like to see pain, these men. As there are 5 minutes before 125 is due, I flick through the channels on the TV in the corner, find Groove Trap, dance around my small patch of land. Dancing is another secret thing I do. If I were to be seen, there would be a punishment. There is a knock on the door. Usually they barge in. I've seen them in the corridors after they've paid the madams, elbowing each other out of the way in their desperation to get to us, to get into us. They are usually equally desperate to get away from us. His knocking gives me a chance to be seated demurely on my bed, looking at the floor. 125 is a man who buries himself into me. I lie beneath him on my faded turquoise bedspread, red dress rocked up, passively accommodating as a grave. Normally they leave as soon as they have wiped themselves down, go back out into the corridor that smells of spices and sweat, heading for work or their families. Few say goodbye or even make eye contact. That's fine. But 125 is different. He doesn't roll off as soon as he has finished. He lies next to me and gently squeezes my arms and thighs. They like us fat. We are given drugs to help us put on weight. Cow steroids, Naomi says. I sit up on the bed so that he knows he needs to go, as the next customer will be here soon. I pull down my dress, but his eyes are on me like heat. What does he want? "What's your name, girl?" It's the first time he has spoken. His voice is quiet. We are not meant to tell them our names. We are not meant to have any kind of relationship. They are customers. This is a business. The madams don't want anyone getting freebies or taking us away from here. But we're meant to be polite, so the men come back. A difficult balance. "What's your name?" I ask him, smiling so he doesn't think I'm being rude. I don't want to get hit. I asked you first. He puts on his trousers, the pockets flopping out. I have an urge to tuck them in. My name is Naomi, I say, because why does it matter? Let him think he has power, and let me have my secrets. He nods. Mine is Deita. Deita looks as if he wants to say something else. There is a moment when the air between us is soft. He moves to the door, then turns. Thank you, Naomi. Would you like beetle? I nod, and he puts some in my hands. 125 wasn't like the others. 125 was called Deita. He was not handsome, but he was kind. He was generous, giving me beetle. On his fourth finger was a wedding ring. His wife is lucky. I hope he comes back one day. 126 had been drinking at the brothel bar. His breath reeked of beer. He asked my age before we started. I said, 18. 18 is legal. They like us younger than them, but old enough that we know what we are doing. He struggled into me, and the act lasted for ages. Afterwards, he burnt my back with a cigarette. I didn't cry until he'd left, which he did calmly, as though he had put out all his anger with his violence. Naomi bathes my back, soothing its fire. I share the beetle that Deita gave me. I say one of my customers left it by accident, that it fell out of a pocket. I don't want to tell her about Deita. She would be jealous. Yesterday, someone hit her in the mouth and loosened a tooth. Even if I did tell her about Deita, it's not much of a story. He wasn't the first to be nice. He wasn't even the first to give me beetle. But he was the first to look as if he saw my true worth. His thighs were sweaty and stuck to my skin. I write about 127. As he did it to me, I stared at the torn curtains, a change from staring at the wall. The curtains are olive green with red swirls. I wondered who sewed them, whether they had liked the pattern or if they were forced to follow it. When 127 finished, he asked if I had enjoyed it. What could I say? I said yes. I have a dream about Deita. He comes to my room, takes my hand, and leads me through the corridors and alleyways of this giant brothel until we are out in clean, fresh air. Then the dream fades. It's the first time that I haven't had a nightmare. Every other night I have dreamed of the man who raped me when I was 14, the man who sold me to the brothel owners, my husband. One evening, Naomi says, whilst combing my hair, a man asked for me today, by name, but when he turned up, I didn't recognise him. He didn't recognise me either. My heart beats faster. She looks at me with her eyes narrowed. That's funny, I say, as calmly as I can. I guess there are other Naomis here. You don't know anything about it, do you? He wasn't number 140, was he? Naomi's plastic comb has snagged on a tangle. She swears as she attacks it. Of course I don't know anything, I say. Did he say what the other Naomi looked like? Was he violent? Why would I ask? He had to make do with me anyway. He wasn't violent. I want to ask more about what he had looked like, but I didn't want to arouse her suspicions any further. If he had given her beetle, she didn't share it. Weeks pass. I see at least 15 customers a day. The madams tell them that I am a former child bride, and they like that. None of the customers is Deita. He was probably from a different city. Many men pass through here for work. I hope every day to see him again. Hope cannot fix a heart, but it can let the light in. Whenever I am alone in my room, I dance, my lungi swaying freely, and I write, my thoughts flowing freely. And then there is a knock on the door, and it is him. Deita is wearing a brown shirt that is almost the colour of his skin, the top 2 buttons undone. He smiles at me. How did you find me? I ask, looking at the floor. I remembered the location of the room. Why did you lie about your name? You're not called Naomi, are you? I shake my head. He is smiling, but I know how quickly smiles can slip off a face. Does he want to punish me for lying? I see why you need to have secrets, living in a place like this, he says. I sit on the bed and he gently pushes my red dress up. Again, he buries into me as if he doesn't want to leave. As he is reaching his climax, he throws his head back. The act isn't enjoyable for me. It could never be that after what I have experienced. But it is not unpleasant. I expect Daita to bid me goodbye as soon as he is done, perhaps after offering more betel, but he doesn't move from the bed. He asks how long we have until my next customer comes. We probably have 10 minutes, I say. I lie close enough to hear his breath. He runs his fingers along my spine, touching the cigarette burn scar. I trace his spine, the string of bones thin as a river. So if your name is not Naomi, he says into my pillow, do you trust me enough to tell me what it is, so I know whom to ask for next time? I tell him it is Sabrina. He says that is beautiful. I am glad to know your true name. Names are important in this world. Do you know the meaning of mine? Daita asks. I don't. Tell me, please. I do know the meaning, but I want to hear that lovely word in his mouth, the vowels lazy and snug. Beloved. I was always ashamed to have such a girly name. I guess your parents must have really loved you to give you that name. I cannot imagine love like that. Daita leans towards me, presses his lips to my cheek. Lift me up, I think. Take me away from here. I can make myself small enough to travel in the palm of your hand. I hope you find someone to love you as you deserve, Sabrina. Daita says. I think I have. But how could I tell him that? He is married. He is a customer. There's no way we could be together. But I can write our story with any ending I like. In my book, 125 can change into beloved. Thank you.